Hi, everybody. This is Chris,
This is Matt.
and today we're going to talk about Die by the Sword. If this is your first time watching, just to give you a hint of what the show is about so you can decide if you want to stay tuned. Each month we pick a different game. This month we've picked Die by the Sword, and we'll announce what game we're picking for next month at the end. We basically play it for the month and then come back and talk about it for some reason about an hour. Like, we don't time these, we don't have a script. We have some notes we take, and it takes about an hour usually to get through whatever we have to say about something. Why that's the magic number? Now I'm starting to ramble, and this is why it's the magic number, because we spend
The first 20 minutes is just you
prattling on about something, trying to fill dead air until we get comfortable and want to talk about it. Um, and we hope you play the games with us each month and maybe make some comments. I haven't figured out how you can comment about the game coming up yet, so if anybody has an idea on that, I'd love to hear it. I've toyed with like setting up a Google Doc that other people can add to, but whatever. We'll deal with that at the end. Because right now we're talking about Die by the Sword.
Yep, wonderful, wonderful game. That's where I landed on this. It's just it's more fun than it should be.
It is. I went into this expecting the worst because we've had a lot of games where our nostalgia has blinded us to what the game actually is. And in this particular case, it exceeded my nostalgia.
Yeah, that was my experience too. Like I dug this out probably 2 or 3 years ago and kind of spent some time on it and so I expected to really enjoy it, but this was my first time really focusing on the single player quest. Like
Okay.
when I dug it out before, I think I was playing it with my son, and we were doing like arena mode, multiplayer stuff, which is a blast. But I had never really gone through the single player campaign, and I missed like I should have because it's quite good.
Mm-hmm. I, it if you like Dungeons and Dragons, if you've played like Dungeons and Dragons, definitely older Dungeons and Dragons, you can see where this was somebody's campaign. This is set up like a module. This is set up like an adventure from old school Dungeons and Dragons, and that just checked all the right boxes for me. I appreciated the game more this time than the first time I played it.
Yeah, it's very much laid out like a D&D campaign, like
Mm-hmm.
the structure of the levels, everything about it, the secret stuff, uh even the combat is D&D like because
Yeah,
uh just because of how you control the guy.
right. Yeah, and it's so hack and slash, but there's a story, and the story's told not only through very little cutscenes, but through gameplay elements. Like there's
Hmm.
one part, and I will probably get to it because it takes long enough. But it's at the river when you're going to get on the river, and there's an orc and some kobolds loading boxes on a raft. You can just run right to the raft, cut the cord, and start sailing away if you want. You can ignore the entire battle. You can go in there, kill everybody, and then wander on in your own pace. Or there's a crate you can go hide in, and they will load you on the raft and take you down. In 1998, that wasn't happening a lot. There wasn't that sort of storytelling through gameplay in an action game a lot. At least not that I remember. I mean, someone will correct me that, oh, this game was pretty good. Um, while I'm saying that, I'm going to look up the granddaddy of that
Yeah,
because
yeah,
there's
the
a game that did it
openness.
very well. It also came out in '98, which is probably so. There's two games that killed this game in '98. You brought up one of them to me the other day, which was Tomb Raider 3, I think it was.
Yeah, yep.
But on November 8th, 1998, Half Life came out.
Oh wow, yeah, you can't compete with Half-Life. I
No,
mean,
no.
but this is
Well,
like
wait, this
a
is,
hidden gem, really.
yeah.
I
Keep going with that. I want to look something up here.
Yeah, and like it shows its age. Like
Hmm.
that's for sure. But the control mechanisms are so interesting, and the open endedness of the quest, like you talked about the end of this level where you can just jump into the crate. Like
Hmm.
that's great. Like that's good stuff. And this game never really got the credit it deserved, and I think that's a shame.
It is a shame. It was made by a team who obviously loved it, loved what they did.
Yeah,
Um, Really, the whole thing feels like it got attention. It might not be uh, the best engineering wise game. Like, when you look at Half Life's levels and the engine for it, and then you compare it to this polygonal
right.
roughness, and this is with a graphics enhanced patch. If you don't do that, the whole thing looks. The cutscenes are done in the old patch.
Yeah, you can
So,
definitely tell.
yeah. I mean, there's sprite based traps and gates and stuff. I mean, it,
Yeah,
it
that
was the
was
tail end of a previous generation.
right. That the horrible textures to me was the biggest problem.
Hmm.
Or well, not probably not the biggest problem, but it was pretty like you can see that they're rough, and a lot of finding the hidden hallways.
Yeah.
The only reason they're hidden is because these textures are so bad and the lighting is so static.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, like
but
there's no shadows.
really, what this game is all about is the VSIM control method.
Hmm.
Uh, that's what makes it most of what makes it interesting, what makes it fun, and it was implemented so well. I think that it could have been a disaster. Like that VSIM system could have been really bad.
And I think for you originally it was.
Yes, yes. I had a real hard time coming back to this because I started with the mouse, and
Can't
I
do
didn't
that.
I didn't read the manual very well,
Yeah. Well, there's that.
as usual.
Even like, so you started on the mouse, you told me, and then I got you on the keypad. And anybody who's going to play this game, let me put your mouse aside. It's going to seem unnatural for a moment, but you need to put your, left hand needs to be WASD or ESDF if you're correct. And then the other hand needs to be on the keypad controlling your sword because that's where you're actually going to get the most accuracy. And that's counterintuitive to how most games play,
Hmm.
where the mouse is more accurate. But not here. The mouse is too sloppy for controlling your sword and determining a headshot. Once you do that, you still got to kind of Dark Souls wise get good. Um,
Right, right. This isn't a game where you can just dive in and be good at it and play through the game and blah blah blah. You
yeah.
have to learn the system. You have to understand, uh, the height of what you're attacking, how it's moving, how you're moving. It's really a deep
Yeah.
and well implemented system. The hitbox detection is incredibly good.
Solid. So solid.
Yeah,
I feel bad here that I ruined that rope trap. Um,
yeah,
because that's such a fun. It really sets the tone of the game.
right.
Um, you walk in the room, rope picks you up by your feet and starts just flinging you around the room while they bat at you like a pinata.
Yeah, you
And
don't die. I mean, and you can cut yourself down, or you can fight hanging upside down, which
I've
is what I
killed the
did.
orc upside down. Yeah,
Yeah,
which is such a great feeling because you feel tough. The game does
yeah,
a good job of making you feel like a fighter and
yeah.
tough and stuff like that. But you've got to take a few moments and get good with the controls.
There is an option to use a joystick. I don't think I've ever tried that, and I think it supports force feedback, which might be
Interesting.
interesting to try. I don't know if I could play that way though. The keyboard, just based on my experience with the mouse, I think the keyboard was
No,
way
the
the
keyboard's
right.
my favorite, but I'd love to try it with the gamepad. It might be the closest I get to the like spiritual successor follow up on the Dreamcast. Because I don't
Hmm.
think I'm going to go hunt that down. It's probably worth a penny because I'm betting it's rare. But they did
Yeah.
make a game after this that for the Dreamcast that followed a similar vibe and fighting style that I'd love to take a look at.
Yeah, what the stuff they did after this was by and large not at all related to this game. Like they went on to do sports games and Call of
Yeah,
Duty.
yeah.
Like what? How do you go from this to that? I don't
Well,
get that.
I think this didn't do so well. I think it never really found an audience, and I'm sad for that. I it deserves an audience. It deserves better than it got. Is basically
Yeah,
what it is. And I'm wondering, when you read the manual, they talk a lot about how this is the future, and they describe a lot of things that really didn't come to be until we get to the Kinect and the Wii and the stuff like that, in terms of sitting in a room and actually swinging a sword and having that be the future of video games.
right, right. That kind of leads into the how much they obviously loved this game. Like if
Hmm.
you read the manual, the whole beginning is about how they've like figured out the future of video gaming, and
Yeah.
it's this vsim
Hmm.
independently controlling your limbs.
Yeah.
And I understand why they felt that way, because it's really is a blast. And
Hmm.
like usually novelty stuff like that I hate.
Yes.
Like I hate uh control mechanisms that are kind of weird or unintuitive, where you feel like you're playing against the engine.
Hmm.
You don't really feel like that here. Like it's so well implemented.
No, you don't feel like you're playing against the engine. You might feel like it's hard to do something, but you know that you could do it. I never reached a point in the game, even on some of the more frustrating, like platforming at the end, where I thought, oh, the game. There are
Hmm.
platforming and there's stuff where the game engine or the camera fights me on stuff, but never really in this game, and it should have. There are places
Hmm.
where this camera should have been much worse for me, and I'm just now thinking about the camera, and like I never got mad at it. I never really got mad at it. But then I locked it in the follow mode, and I think you didn't.
That is definitely something that you have to do. Like when you start this game, what you have to do: use the keyboard, set your camera up with follow mode, and then you'll enjoy it like 1,000 times more, because the kind of cinematic style camera
Hmm.
is really awful, especially like in the combat, because it'll swing around and you'll find yourself walking in a different direction than you anticipated,
Yeah.
and it doesn't work. I don't know why it's the default. That was annoying, but
Hmm.
once you told me, like, idiot, go like, because you remap your keys, and that's why you
I knew where some
uh,
stuff was.
and you're a smarter person than me. Those are the two reasons that,
Well,
and you
I
read
don't
the
know about
manual.
that, but I do read the manuals, and well, usually for the last one, it was in my closet, and I never got around to it. But I do usually try to go through the manual and see what they have to say, and
Yeah, but definitely do those things. Like, and the combat tutorial's pretty good.
it's okay.
Um,
Yeah.
like it kind of gets you going. It's one of those things, like you'll read it and then it won't make sense until you're actually playing the game, though.
Hmm.
So because
Yeah.
it'll be like, hit, type 1 to 9 to do blah blah blah. It doesn't really make
No,
sense.
you got to
But
get in
just
there and
read it.
play with it. I would even suggest like going in, setting up some arena stuff to start, and just practicing fighting and attacking. You did remind me of the one thing I think is there's one control scheme that really did tick me off, and that's grabbing to climb or climbing.
Hmm.
Um, you have to hit a button to climb, and that doesn't sound like a huge pain, but they put some platforming puzzles in here where you have to, in the air, jump and then hit climb at the right moment so that your
Hmm.
hands grab the ledge and pull you up.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
rough.
it's rough. It's obviously doable. I finished the game, but
Hmm.
really rough.
I generally hate platforming,
Hmm.
and I didn't like it in this game either. Like,
No.
if anything, I liked it. I disliked it more in this game, because the controls aren't really super responsive. Like when you jump, he kind of squats and
Yeah.
jumps, which is kind of how it would be.
Well,
Um,
I found like with the jumping, like there's a jump button, but there's multiple ways to jump.
Right.
And so you have to really, like everything else in this game, get a feel for your character and the controls and learn how to make them jump the way you want them to jump.
What I would recommend, like if you're just starting this, is go into arena and choose mutants and just like beat up on the mutants because
Yes.
it's so much fun and you'll learn, like you'll cut their heads off and you'll cut their arms off and you'll like get a feel for the controls in a really satisfying,
Yeah.
fun way. And you know, you do feel a little bad for the mutants because
They're not there to fight.
they're yeah, they're pathetic. Like they've got a peg leg and like one huge eye. It's really great.
You just love the peg leg.
I do. As bad as the textures are, they did a good job on the
Yeah.
mutants.
I just saw me pick up a potion and it reminded me of there's no inventory in this game. There are 3 objects you can pick up other than potions and healing, and whenever you pick something up, it happens instantaneously. And I kind of love that about this game. Normally it would be something I'd complain about, but
No, that's perfect. Like you don't have to go into an inventory and choose the right key and all that shit.
Yep.
Like the key for the room is going to be in the room
Yeah.
or whatever, and
No.
it just works.
For inventory, it knew that. Like I was trying to figure out how to get in here. I forgot you have to like use.
Yeah, that's goofy.
So, but you can watch this little kobold. He'll just go and load crates, like, and then he'll see you and oh, now I'm going to do something. I mean, I love that.
Yeah, it's weird. Like I guess their whole economy is based around empty crates in this world because there's crates everywhere. That's the only thing people do is like move these crates around. Most of them are empty. Occasionally, there's like a leg of lamb in them.
Which, I mean, are you sure it's a leg of lamb? These aren't orcs and kobolds, and they just stole your woman there. So, like,
That's
it
true.
might be lamb.
It might be long pig if you know what I mean.
That's what I'm
Human meat.
saying. Nummy.
Well, you get a taste for it, like because you wind up eating a lot of it in this game.
Yep.
That is one thing I did not like about the.
I do like throwing kobolds with your sword.
Yeah, that is great. It's cool because the kobolds like jump and flip when they attack you, and it's like they have their own kind of combat style that really works.
No,
but
each creature has its own combat style. Sorry, go.
Oh, the thing that annoyed me is, and this is kind of what makes it almost Dark Souls-ish. You don't really get to heal, so every encounter that you have is really important. Like,
Yeah.
even if you win an encounter, but you come out of it pretty beat up,
You might have just screwed yourself.
for the rest of the game, and then you'll find yourself going back really far to a point where, you know, back to that combat where you still had decent health. And I didn't like that because I don't know, man. Like you get so far and you have some really great moments, and then sometimes you just have to, like, I had to start basically over from the end of the like second level because you don't heal on your own. You don't heal between levels.
Well, and that's where you gotta search for the healing. It's
Right.
there. There's a lot of it, but it's not laying around in the open. You got to go looking in the corners and poking your nose around, and sometimes that leads to an extra fight, which can be worse than finding
Right.
healing. But it's there. And do you know to search the bodies? They sometimes have food on them
Yes.
too. So that's.
Yeah.
I found a dead rat. You know what you should do
Yeah.
with that?
You find like fish bones and breadsticks.
So, and it took me a while. Like speaking of reading the manual, I just totally spaced that there is a button you can press that shows your hit points and the monster's hit points.
Yeah.
A little
I
bar
use
above your
that
head.
quite a lot.
Once you remember it's there, you use it a lot. Like here's
Yeah.
where I remember, oh, I hit use, that's right. And I go in. Now if there was still a kobold, he'd come put me on the raft, but
Yep.
there isn't, so
All dead.
all dead because I killed them. Oh, and that was the
But
other
yeah.
thing I was going to say about the cutscenes. One of the other things I like is when they do a cutscene, it like other than this sort of, it doesn't use you. Like the cutscenes are all about someone else. It's not like one thing where they take over and decide what your character's doing.
Hmm. Right, there, and there's no dialogue in them. They're charming. Like
Mhm.
I liked the cutscenes.
Yeah,
You have to see one. Oh,
you will hear in a second.
yeah. For one, notice how shitty it looks because it's outside of the
Outside of the
modded.
mod. Yep.
Yeah. But the other thing is there's like no dialogue. It's just these little like pantomime type
Mm-hmm.
actions.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what it looks like without the mod pack. It's rough.
It's really rough. And like I'm kind of surprised I finished it originally.
Yeah, the mod we used is what was it called? I put it. Oh,
Extend?
extended.
Yeah.
Uh, if you're gonna play this, just get it. You know,
It makes the
don't
game
even waste
playable.
your time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it crashes a lot if you don't have it. It'll hang up on the menu. Awesome, so good. See, and like you, the reaction of this guy is perfect. He's
Yep.
like looking around, but it's all in the game engine. That's
Yep.
pretty wonderful.
Um I like that the orcs are what I consider orcs. That was what I grew up with as orcs in the early 80s.
The pig
Pig
heads.
heads.
Yeah,
The new orcs to me, I mean, I understand, but they'll never really be orcs.
right. Wow, you got his arm off right away. Holy cow, you really hacked into that guy. Is
That's what I
everything-
thought too. By the way, I'm going to die in a second and have to play this like 6, 7 more times.
Mhm. I know, I did that too.
But like, I was like, wow. I
I'm like-
remember having a hard time on this river, and I just mowed that guy down. So now I got to go over here and get the secrets, which means I have to jump off the raft in movement, and I'm going to drown because I didn't jump
yeah.
right. Oh, I can't get back on the raft, and I can't get up, and I'm gonna just no.
Yeah, his relationship with water is not great. Like it's weird. There's that little bar and it just runs out, even though he's like floating. And
Yeah,
then he
well,
just dies.
yeah, that's when it starts causing damage. So you
Right.
have to get out of the water before that does, or you'll start taking damage, and then. But yeah, he doesn't swim. I guess he's in chainmail. I'll forgive it.
Yeah,
like-
it makes sense, I guess. But yeah, it's
Really?
kind of nice because sometimes you can like if you miss a jump, you can get out of the water before
Mhm.
you start taking damage, and that's cool.
Yeah.
The load you load a lot in this game. It's again like Dark Souls. You die a lot, you load a lot.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, you get it, but it's never unfair. Like you saw the guy hopping down the river at you. You weren't like
Yep.
he didn't pull up over the side of the boat and drag you under when you didn't know he was going to be there. You
Mhm.
always know what's coming. If you look, you can see the traps. And it takes nothing to get back in the game. Boom,
Right.
boom, I'm in. And you're going to do that a lot. You're going to go boop, boop, and boop, boop, and boop, and it auto saves all the time. You can't pick where you save,
Mhm.
but it auto saves all the time, which means you're not even going out to save. It just knows we're going to create about 1,000 saves for you, just FYI, and
Right.
does it. So I've never been. I know you said you had to go way back because you'd screwed yourself with health, but it's also because you weren't exploring.
Hmm.
But I never felt like, oh my god, I got to go so far back now.
Right. Yeah, it saves in every room, and the room they're named like you said, like a D&D campaign.
Mm-hmm.
So like, the room will have a name, the ferns,
Yeah.
the docks, and that's cool. But what I had a problem with the save system is that there's places where you can go two directions.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go the wrong one, you wind up with a save down there and then a save down here.
Yeah.
And so you'll have to repeat some battles sometimes.
Towards
because-
the end, I had that too. Yeah.
yeah,
where if you
it's
save
kind
in
of
the wrong
annoying,
spot.
but yeah, by then you're probably going to be good enough.
Yeah.
And this guy's giving you the runaround.
Yeah. And I'm swinging like, is he coming back? Nope.
Well done. Did you get this secret? I could never figure out how to get this.
I do
Like,
get the secret.
I know what you have to do. I just
It's
don't know
hard.
how there's time to do it. You have to. You
You got to
jump.
jump correctly for starters.
got to jump. Yeah.
Yeah, which I did not do. So no, I'm just like trying to jump down the river and hoping to like, can I get back on? No, I'm gonna drown.
Oh, you're done.
And now I'm just spinning around.
You've given up at that point.
And there's the thing, the game doesn't take itself too seriously the way Duke Nukem 3D didn't take itself too seriously.
Right.
The barks from your character, the barks from the other characters, the way your guy dies, and it's fun. Every bit of it's just meant to be a little bit of machismo fun. And
Yep, definitely.
that's
It,
and I'm
it's
so
got
sick of them this time.
yeah. Holy cow, geez, dude, is everything okay at home?
Do we need to call an intervention here? What's going on?
Holy shit, man. You really okay. Well,
Well, we each
yeah.
vent in our own ways.
I could tell it was a frustrating battle for you. So now let's see if you screw this up yet again. Yay!
Do that.
That's the wrong one.
Nope.
Yeah, isn't that the wrong one?
No, that opens that.
But what about that? There's another grate just down the river that you opened with that other switch. Did you notice that?
Yeah, but I think like something else has to happen there
Oh,
because
okay.
this bypasses you completely, so that you come down here.
Right, and you can get this guy from the rear.
Yep. That's how
No,
I
but
like
well, okay.
it.
Not touching that one.
No, don't leave it alone.
There's a healing potion up there. How do you get that thing, man? I
Oh.
couldn't figure it out for
I
the
think
life
I
of
die
me.
and have to go back and get it eventually.
Okay.
Like I will show you.
Yeah, because I tried not to look it up because I'm usually guilty of
Just looking it up.
looking it up because my attention span is not so good.
I'd say it's okay to look stuff up in here.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to ruin any part of the game by looking stuff up.
Yeah,
I
you're-
wanted to a couple times.
Yeah, you're pretty good. Like just watching you move a lot. That's really important. Like
Always
that's
keep
one
moving.
thing you'll learn. Yeah, you can anticipate their attacks, and you have to like back up and know when to be aggressive and when not to be.
Mm-hmm. And each guy requires you to fight in a slightly different way, so
Yeah.
kind of pace it and work with that. Um,
Ouch.
yep. And learn to like, if you double tap on any of the movement keys, it will jump you in that direction. There's an insane amount of depth to this control scheme, and I think that's what turns a lot of people off. Is
Right.
just because there's so much depth to it and you're in control of everything, it is always your fault, and yet the depth is doable.
hmm Yeah, you can get good at this. And the other thing that's awesome about it is that you can make your own custom moves
Mm-hmm.
and then just call them and it'll execute whatever you scripted, which I didn't do, but I think it would be super like fun to have some really badass moves,
I
you can
didn't
just
in this
call.
game, but I did in the first game, where what I did is I had a move where the guy would put his sword above his head, jump, and do a somersault. And so I would just decapitate people by jumping over them with that move. That was
Awesome.
so much fun.
Yeah. Decapitating people is possibly the most satisfying thing you can do in any video game ever.
Right? It doesn't
Like,
matter the game.
I had one thing where I like cut off two orcs' heads in a row, and it was just like it made my whole day. It was
I'll bet.
wonderful.
I love when I like cut off both their arms.
Yeah.
And you're like, you can't do nothing now. We're Black Knighting this from here on out, and
Yep.
I could just walk past you. I'm not going
Yep.
to, but I could.
Yeah, you can cut one of their legs off, and they fight through it though. I mean,
No, and they score. You get a score each level, so there is,
Mhm.
a sense of high score attempt. There was a nice hop,
yeah,
and I
yeah,
love that. Like it takes into account the momentum of the swing and where they're going to determine like, do you just knock them down or do you actually throw them somewhere?
right. And your movement, like side to, or rotation of your torso, makes a big difference in how much damage you do.
Yeah, it does. It adds
It's-
a bunch to the damage if you can spin while swinging. And there's the thing, as someone who's done martial arts in real life, I genuinely appreciate the fighting in this, that it's fighting.
Yep.
I'm not saying
Yeah.
I want every game to do this, not by a long shot, but I want some games to do it again. I want some games that really, you know, give me that full control. And I don't know that we'll see it because too many people want to use a gamepad or something else. To say you're going to use only a keyboard
Right.
to do analog fighting is a tough sell.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't go back and get the potion. I thought I did.
Yeah. This part is a little bit of terrific. The
Yeah.
or the what is that thing? It's
I,
not a trog, is
yeah,
it?
it's a trog. It's like the mama
Oh,
trog.
oh, that's right. It's the mama trog. Yeah. This is a good fight, and you get like a little trog that follows you around and
Yeah,
kind of helps you out. I love that.
I do too. It's
Like you
adorable.
said, it doesn't take itself super seriously.
Mm-mm.
And after I installed this, I was looking at the files that comes with it, and I had like a cuss pack.
Hmm.
So of course I'm going to install that. Uh, and he does, like, he drops f bombs, and
Yeah.
it's slightly subversive. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's a good time.
I didn't, and even when you don't, he's still, making little taunts and making little things. It's more family appropriate, but it's still. I think the worst he gets is bloody hell,
Yeah,
but it's still like he's calling orcs the other white meat and
yeah,
stuff like that. That's just great.
yep. You can, like you said, you can really tell that they loved this game when they made it. And
Like
that
I was trying to kill this guy
makes a
because I thought he was
difference.
going to fight me. I'm like, oh man, I got to kill the baby, and I'm like, wait, I can't hit him. Can I pick him up?
Nope.
Can I pick you up, buddy?
He's just your little buddy. He's
Just my
gonna
little
follow
buddy.
you around. Yeah,
And
this
that's
is
where
one of those items. Yeah.
it's one of the 3 items you really should get. Like,
Yes.
and this is
Yeah.
why you explore. They have no qualms, and towards the end of the game, things you need to finish the game are hidden behind secrets you need to find,
Hmm.
which is typically bad game design. But in this game, I don't know, it works.
Yep. Because it's like that's like what a DM would do,
Hmm.
in a D&D game.
Yeah. Well, and there's the thing: like modern DM people and modern module writing say you're not supposed to do that. Uh, I hear ya, but
Yeah, they want you to explore. Like,
yeah, they encourage you in a primarily action game. The amount of just pure exploration in here and how it encourages it and how much fun it is to find it was surprising.
hmm and every little piece of food you find
Hmm.
makes a difference,
Yeah.
because, like I said, you do not heal on your own.
No.
It's not forgiving.
No.
Like, if you're not good at this game, you're just not going to get far.
Yeah.
Like, that's just it.
And then you
There's-
go back and play it again. Like I remember the first time I played it, it took me a month and a half, I think, to finish. It took me a while to finish. I had to play a lot of stuff over and over again.
Mhm.
This time I finished it in 6 hours.
Yeah, when I told you I had to go back and kind
Hmm.
of start over. After I started over, I was like rocking through it, finding all the secrets, doing all the stuff, because I had gotten so much better at it.
Yeah.
And that's what happens. Like,
Yeah.
you improve skill wise.
Yeah. And that I think is one of the things. Here's one of my disappointments. The second quest is super buggy, like to the point that it's not always finishable,
Yeah.
which was really disappointing to me. I was going down halls and things where stuff was supposed to spawn that I have to kill to open the next door, and it wouldn't spawn. And
Yeah.
you can tell it was very tacked on. It was still had a D&D feel to it, but it was one of those like, somebody kicked this out in a week to like it's somebody's homebrewed adventure as opposed to this, which was a
Right.
store-bought module.
The that's the die by or the limb from
From
limb expansion. It's still worth, like, anything. I think if you buy this, it comes with it. But
Yeah, it comes with it now
adds
if you
a
get it
lot
from
of
Good Old Games.
Yeah, it adds a lot of other things that are cool to have, like the extra characters and stuff for arena.
And
Is ogre hockey from Limb from
Yes.
Limb? Oh,
So
definitely.
it is definitely worth getting the limb back for ogre
Yes.
hockey.
Ogre hockey is the best time that you can have
We'll
in,
talk about it
in
more in a
America.
bit, but ogre
Yeah.
hockey is, um, yeah,
Yeah. We played that a lot.
we did. It was so good. Um,
Yeah, this ferns thing is rough.
well, the first time, like, and this was one of those things that I loved because as a DM, it's the sort of thing I would have done, and it got me. Like, here's all these green ferns, and this green creature comes running out of it.
Right.
And I didn't see him the first time. All of a sudden, just brah, and I'm dead. And once I knew he was coming, and I looked, I could see him moving, and I'm like, that was my own fault. I went in here
Right.
not paying attention, and they got me because of it. That's not
Yep.
the game. That was me.
Yeah. Yeah. That's one of those times like these terrible text sprites worked out for him.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was a great moment when there's another one coming up
Yeah,
here
there's
too
another one
after
coming up.
this.
I don't want to spoil it, but there's a couple things over here. First off, my little guy goes running over to the side. I'm like, "Where you going, buddy? You going home? We done?"
Yeah, he dives right for that waterfall. I think the current carries him or something.
He's trying to take you to something.
Oh, is he?
Mm-hmm. There's a secret behind the waterfall.
How do you get to it? I
Just
tried to do it.
I do eventually get to it. I think I die first here though, because here is like it
Whoa.
dumps you in a pit with a trog, and
Yeah.
suddenly you're like, "Oh man, oh no, no, what's going on?" And
You're like stuck in there with him.
yup, and
Yep.
you just can't quite fathom what's happening, and he just mows you down. I wanted to bring up like the battle damage. Like one of the things that's
Yes.
really impressive to me is it's checking which polygon you're hitting. And I know
Hmm.
that's a little bit harder in modern games because there's so many of them. But then it applies battle damage to those polygons. And so you can see somebody slowly getting redder. And oh, is that as far as I got on this one? Okay.
Yeah, the texture changes. It's very much like Battle Damage He-Man
Yeah.
from back in the 80s.
Okay, let me get the. I've never actually run through a whole video
Yeah,
before. I'm kind of.
we've been talking about this a while. Here we go.
Yeah. All right. Let me go back in here. There we go.
You can double jump over that pit if you do it really fast.
Yes.
Skip that combat. Skipping like if you're a completist, you're gonna have a harder time with this game because you can skip combat sometimes, and you totally should because, like I said, you can get in a bad way
Yeah.
pretty
But
quick.
in doing that, you don't get the full points at the end of the level.
Right. Yeah, this is a difficult combat because you're in a pit.
Mm-hmm.
You can't really move as much as you need to.
And you just took damage in the fern room.
Right.
And if you don't know about the waterfall, there's nothing to heal. So you're kind of boned if you don't know to go explore behind the waterfall. But if you're a video gamer, you should know that waterfall's hiding a secret. There's where I was like, oh, I can like show hit points, and I see that I've
Yeah.
got like, meh.
Yeah, like I ran up to the waterfall and I saw that there was a little shelf back there, but I couldn't get on it before I died. Oh, there
Yep,
you go.
there you go.
Into the depths.
But
But yeah, there's always something behind the waterfall. You're
there's
right,
something
and
marvelous.
every game ever. But man, that waterfall texture is shitty, isn't
Oh
it?
my god, it's so bad.
It's really just, yeah,
Yeah, I'm gonna die again, aren't I? Yep.
yeah. You are. Your commitment
Oh,
to
I made it.
go.
Yeah, this is the kind of platforming. This is a good way to practice your platforming. It gets you like this is what it's going to be like in a place that's relatively safe. And there's something the campaign does is it ramps you up slowly.
Yeah. Oh, look at you. Yeah, I couldn't
Sure
make
enough,
that
there's a
jump.
healing potion.
Oh yeah, okay. Well, you're definitely better at this than I am.
Well, I put a lot of time into it once before. Like I've beaten it once and then came back, and we still did all our ogre hockey and arena stuff together too. So
Yeah.
I've just got more time in it. Um, I made notes in here about like especially the troglodytes. This original D&D everybody thinks came from like Lord of the Rings, and really it came from Conan and Lovecraft.
Hmm.
This game is that. The trogs, there's tentacles later in the game. If that's your jam and you've been looking for a game that gets rid of the elves and stuff and goes more Conan Lovecraft,
Hmm.
we found your game. We found it
Yep.
for you. Come give it a shot because
Yeah.
there's a gritty metalness. The game is metal and
It
metal, you
is.
know.
It is. It's yeah, it's like uber masculine.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
And yet I don't feel it's derogatory. I know you're
No,
sort of
no.
in a rescue the princess game, but even when you get to the end, it kind of turns around where she's not helpless. And when you get to play her in the other games, I mean, that's one of the things. The second quest, you can pick her. She's
Yeah.
not a helpless victim. So even though, I mean, there's some machismo, like I said, for sure, but I didn't feel offended at this game.
Right, right. It's not overly sexualized like so much like
Hmm.
metal tends
Right.
to like, you know.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. She's got a metal bikini and like one long glove. So,
Right. Right. Yeah, this is a hard fight against two ogres. This is the one where I cut both their heads off.
hmm well, and I think I hadn't learned here yet how to do a good head cleave where I was still going high to high.
Yeah.
And really, what you need to do is go mid to high. And if you do mid to high, you'll bring it on an upward angle, and that'll get their heads.
Yeah.
And you could just run past them and jump on the elevator. Like, you don't
Right.
have to fight them, which is great.
Yeah.
Oh, I got
Yeah.
one of their heads.
Awesome. Yeah. That's so good.
You can also, if you cut off a limb, pick it up and beat them with it.
Right. Yep. Yeah.
Apropos of nothing, I just think that's awesome that you can do that.
Yeah. I mean, you d- you don't want to because it's just I'm well, you do want to, but it doesn't do you
It's
any
not a good
favors
idea. Yeah,
combat
no.
wise. Yeah. But you'll do it. Like if you get this, you'll find yourself doing that just to do it.
Yeah. So here's a question: how much do we spoil in this game?
Um.
Because I'm betting most people aren't going to go back and play it. Like they're here just to find out about it and look at it as a novelty. Um,
Yeah. Let's go. Let's go all
I was
out.
going to
And
say,
like,
so take a moment here and just warn yourself. I'm about to spoil things for a few moments because I want to talk about stuff later in the game, past this,
mhm.
and it's the little things they did that were so genuinely interesting. Like you get to a point where there's a temple devoted to the evil sorcerer that the orcs are bringing the woman to. And when you kill the orc shaman who's shooting fireballs at you, which is a change on everything that's happened up to this point, there really hasn't been any magic or any projectiles other than the traps. And now you've got this
Right.
guy shooting fireballs at you. Um, you kill him, and you can put on his head and look like him and get through several rooms without battles in disguise. And I loved that. That
Yeah.
was
That's they did a great job keeping this thing interesting, and like that's kind of what I felt about the platforming. Too like that it needs more than just the running around swinging your sword like a maniac, and they delivered on that. Like
yeah.
they made this super interesting.
It never overstayed its welcome.
Right. As long as it needs to be.
Yep. There's one thing, and I'm wondering if this is what's coming up here, that I thought was a bad choice, or at least done too much. And yeah, I think we're about to get there. And I might switch over to Ogre Hockey at that point because it's a maze
Hmm.
of tiny tunnels, and there's way too much of them.
Yeah.
You,
I see. I hate that kind of thing.
and there's
But
no way to kind of breadcrumb your way through it. You can't drop stuff to try and figure out because, like we said, no inventory system, and there's no map.
right.
So
Yeah, you got to just kind of eat shit and get through it. Really,
yeah.
that's your only choice.
I mean, I did figure it out eventually, and
Yeah,
props to the guy who watched me stream it for 3 hours while I figured out how to get through
yeah, it must be a drug user.
it. That's the only thing I can think.
It's probably super fascinating to him.
But even he was like, I only played the arena back when I originally played this, and yeah, this maze sucks. I'm like, yeah, this
Yeah.
maze is the worst part of the game. Um,
Yep.
and
The maze and the platforming
yeah,
uh, are what I didn't like, but
well, and you didn't even see the platforming, which was what finally made me go, the platforming's not good. There's something towards the end where you get into sort of the underbelly of the sorcerer's tower, and there's
mhm.
these giant gears, and guess what you have to do? Climb
Hmm.
on top of them and
Oh
jump from
god.
gear to gear without getting smushed between them. So you have to do that with these bad controls. And there's a
Hmm.
trick on how to get from the first gear to the second that if you don't figure out and you don't know how to do, you're never going to do it. You're
Yeah.
never going to do it. And starting at the gears and going forward, just accept that everything is, it's the first parts where to me things are unfair because figuring out that trick is non-obvious, and
Hmm.
figuring out the trick of where the secrets are. I mean, once you figure out one in the last stretch of battles, you'll figure out the rest, and then the final battle is, I don't know how I beat it all those years ago because it's so hard. It's
Hmm.
so hard. I think I spent an hour on the last battle just reloading, and it's like a 2 minute battle, but it
Right.
took me an hour because just was unfair. Yeah, here's where the mazes start. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll let that play while I look up where our ogre hockey is.
Yeah. So let's talk about kind of switch gears and talk about multiplayer. The
Hmm.
multiplayer is surprisingly not that difficult to set up. We had to open a couple ports to do it, but it's direct IP connectivity, so you'll need to get your IP address, and uh, some of it's not really intuitive. Like if you're hosting, it's going to ask you for an address, but you just leave it blank and just hit host.
Hmm.
You'll have to forward some ports, but it's playable with modern,
Right.
multiplayer right out of the box, and it's definitely worth. If you don't have a friend, make one and play Die by the Sword multiplayer because it's a good time. I know you didn't really like Arena, but as much,
I didn't hate Arena.
yeah, it does get boring. But there's a lot of options, and I think I always hosted. But you can play like where you got to cut off people's heads, or
Oh, I see what's going on
you know
here.
various other King of the Hill type uh, things, and you can have the AI guys in there. So it's really fun, and like it gets really intense with the arena when you know like time is running out and it's a close game.
Hmm.
And the arenas are pretty fun. Um,
Yeah. There's several different types of arenas, and they're their own traps and hazards within each. And yeah, I didn't hate it. It just, compared to ogre hockey, which adds a different level to the combat, where the arenas are just, we're fighting each other.
mhm.
Um, ogre hockey is, and we're about to set this up here. Little spoiler for everybody who saw that I turned on the image because I got them labeled backwards this week.
Oh
Um,
yeah, play ogre hockey. We'll just show some of it. But it's basically your two ogres in the shittiest looking arena you'll ever see in your life, and they move around like dump trucks, and you're trying to smash this poor little kobold into the opponent's goal, and that's all there is to it. But it is absolutely a
yeah,
blast. It's
because you can
so
beat
much
each
fun.
other around.
Yep.
Um, I
Yeah,
want more ogre. I want ogre hockey to be its own game.
yeah. I know if you just sold this, I would
Yeah.
probably buy
I
it
mean,
and
not
play
for
it.
$60, but I'd buy it.
Right. But this is a
Ogre
great
hockey
time.
needs a revisit. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and
Like,
it fits so perfectly with like the whole mood of the game.
it does.
You
Just
know,
this
just this
brutal, careless.
slightly subversive. You
Yeah.
know,
There's a
the
little
little
target painted on the cobbled.
so good. And when you score a goal, it feels like
You earned it.
yeah, because it's not easy. Like you
No.
really have to be good at using the VSIM
Yeah.
system to be good at ogre hockey.
Now we're playing each other, but we could have been on the same team and put some AI opponents in there. We could,
Hmm.
it's not moving them down the field.
Yeah, like you're probably better at this than I am.
You say that, but I think you won
Yeah, it's really easy to score goals for the other person when you're in
when
it
you're down
because
there. Yeah.
yeah, because you've got force swing and then you backswing, and if
Hmm.
you miss and you backswing, you can easily hit that
Yeah.
little kobold. And the kobold like runs around and gets scared sometimes.
Right? There's
You
no
go,
well, I guess there could be. There are ways I could make the swing gentler. But I always have my extend button pressed down,
oh yeah,
which
we
is
didn't
one of the
talk
other
about that.
tips. Yeah.
Yeah,
And I think you didn't do that for a while.
yeah. If you're not extending, a lot of the swings aren't really even swings.
Right.
You know, so I think extend should be the default in my opinion.
Yeah. I think so
There's
too. And you should like pull it in for blocks. Like there should be a more of a blocking. You'll notice I never use blocking.
yeah, I don't block that much either.
Which is too bad. I think it's a missed opportunity. Like
Well,
a better blocking mechanic would have taken a game one more level up.
there's a block key. It's
Hmm.
like with the default controls, it's enter, and then the default way you hold your weapon is kind of close to your body, and then there's another one where it's even closer.
Yeah.
Uh, so there's
It's in
probably
there.
a lot of great stuff you can do with that, but usually I just run around holding extend and
Right.
swinging like a crazy person.
Right. I mean, there's no blocking doesn't get you anything. And you're up. I don't know where you went.
Yep.
There's no sort of real benefit to blocking. That like there's no extra thing you get for blocking. Where if you just
Right.
gotten out of the way and attacked, that would be better. I have practiced with the blocking just to see it work, and it does.
Yeah,
It
yeah, it does work.
it doesn't not work, I guess is, but
I suppose that
no
in those,
benefit to it.
if you're in a claustrophobic fight, maybe it would be useful. But yeah, for the most part, I didn't use it either. I don't know. Maybe if you're like a superstar at this, you
Yeah.
you use it. But I never got to the point
I
where
was gonna say, I guess there
I
were a
couldn't just
couple
move.
fights in like really narrow hallways where I did stop extending to do just the small slashes, but you've got to really be careful with those because you don't do as much damage.
Right.
And it does say that in the manual. Just
Yeah.
it gives a lot of good advice at the end of the manual for fighting. In addition to the fighting section that teaches you how, there's some tips at the end. Read that, follow
Yeah.
those tips, and you'll enjoy the game much, much, much more.
Yeah. Yeah. So definitely, definitely do some arena time to start too. I
Hmm.
would say, because the AI is not bad. Like
No.
it's pretty good.
And I'm kind of impressed that the AI is not bad. I mean, and I think I told you this. Like, one of the reasons I started this was for you and I to sit down and go through old stuff and find what works in games and what doesn't. Because for my own coding and my own development, I don't even know where I'd start coding a game like this. I don't know where I'd start with the controls and the combat and the. It's so beyond me that I'm just really still blown away by it.
Right. It's unlike so much else.
Yeah, this is, and I know we took some flack last week for Master of Orion and not having more nice things to say about it because because it's a solid game. It does what it does, and there's really no way to kind of knock it either really good or really bad.
Hmm.
This game took a lot of chances. It did a lot of things that are really
Yes.
interesting, and we're just starting to see with motion controls and stuff them trying to take it to the next level literally 20 years later.
Yeah. Yeah. I think again, it's such a shame that this got overshadowed by
Better
those other
games.
games. You know,
They're better games.
I was 18 in
Mhm.
1998. But let me say, 1998 and to a lesser extent 99 were great years for pretty much everything. Like there were tons of great movies that came
Mhm.
out those years. Half Life came out. This came out. The late 90s were
Late 90s were a
a
really good
good
time.
time, and maybe I just say that because I was 18. But like, you can't
No,
argue with Pulp Fiction and this. Like, that's good stuff. Although I learned recently that some people haven't seen Pulp Fiction.
we won't talk
Did you know
about that.
that?
I guess there might be somebody who hasn't seen Pulp Fiction.
Shameful. I
It's
bet they
it's
use ESDF as their keys too.
I'll bet they do.
Total monster,
Horrible, horrible monster.
not to be trusted.
No,
That person.
you can't trust someone who hasn't seen Pulp Fiction.
No,
I haven't seen Pulp Fiction. I also haven't seen Weird Science. But to your
I haven't
original
seen
point,
science either. Anyway, go ahead.
original point, starting about 95, the PC, once all the other systems had fallen away and
Hmm.
everybody just converged on, okay, we're going to make the PC good. We finally got Super VGA, VGA, Super VGA graphics can actually be something presentable on a PC now.
Hmm.
Commodore's dead, the ST's dead, Apple's finally dead.
Hmm.
If you want to make a game, the Amiga's like floating in the background going, don't forget me, but it's falling away because Commodore can't PR themselves out of a paper bag.
Hmm.
Um, it just had this renaissance of really good, solid games. So that's why I
Right,
was
and
gonna
then
say before 1993, play your games on the Commodore or Apple or whatever that other system is. That's going to be the one that's interesting. But after that, find the IBM PC clone version.
yeah,
That's where they're good.
right. They started when they started releasing the 3D external 3D accelerator cards.
Hmm.
That's when things really started
Yep.
to pick up, I think, and that was probably in the mid
Yeah.
90s. Like I had a Viper 360, and then
Yeah. I don't even
like
remember.
everyone had the 3DFX, and that was the shit.
I was
And
gonna
then
say I
I
had a
got
Voodoo
one.
card eventually.
Yep. Yep.
Um, I was wondering what happened to Turtle Beach.
Oh man, they had the best sound cards, didn't they?
They had a great sound card system, and Sound Blaster came and just sort of marketed them by having all these different versions, and then Turtle Beach disappeared, and then Sound Blaster went, "Here's your sound card, assholes."
Hmm. Do you remember what happened to Gravis? Do you remember
Oh, I
when we
don't.
were playing MechWarrior 2? They
Hmm.
had a special layout just for the that goofy ass Gravis joystick with all the
Yeah.
buttons on it.
No, the '90s were like. Finally, everybody was like, "Wait, the PC won the game war? Well, shit, we better get on this." And so you have this rush of people coming in and building all these neat things for it now that everything's consolidated in one spot and trying to get their niche in this land rush.
Hmm.
And so it's just a wonderful time to just find stuff like this, like the vSim. That's just
Hmm.
somebody tried, really believed in it, and we're only seeing sort of the follow up to it, the eventual evolution of where it should have been now.
Hmm. Yeah, it was a good time. But I mean, like you could say that too with like Steam coming out. Like there's so much more content now
Hmm.
with Steam. So the
Yes.
dream's not dead.
No, the dream's not dead, but what happened before was a vacuum that got filled. This is
Right.
a forest that people are still trying to plant seeds in. And so, yeah, I'm not saying you're not going to get something to grow, but there's a lot of big trees in there already.
Right. Yeah, that is true. And like stuff seems to have gotten quite a bit samey
Hmm.
uh I know I don't think that's a real word, but there's
It's
like
everybody knows what you mean.
yeah, like people aren't making just the weird labor of love shit like this.
I think
as
that's why we're
much.
getting the indie surge lately with Darkest Dungeon and
Yeah.
Dungeon of the Endless. We're seeing some of the retro graphics because some of these indie artists, that's really what they can bring to the table without a huge budget.
Hmm.
I'm trying to think of the other ones I want to say, like Kentucky Route Zero. Weird game, but out there doing something different. Gone
Hmm.
Home, which I like. I normally would steer you away from walking simulators, but
Hmm.
I thought Gone Home was good. I'm trying to think of some of the other indie ones. Like, I don't think Orcs Must Die has a huge. Who made Orcs Must Die? I'm probably about to eat my words here.
Um, Shoot, we just played this last night, and
Robot
I can see
Entertainment.
Robot. Yeah, yeah.
And
Robot loves you.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a video game company made by the defunct Ensemble Studios after being shut down by Microsoft. So basically, Microsoft shut down its studio and they went, okay, let's go make our own stuff. So
Hmm.
they're not exactly running with a huge budget or anything like that. And Orcs Must Die is great.
Yeah, it's a
Um,
blast. It's super fun.
so I think there's enough like out there when looking at I'm going to look it up, but when looking at Fig, who are we looking at? Phoenix Point.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm looking at Phoenix Point, and they've got that. It's Fig, and I still feel kind of weird about the crowdfunding. Like, there's the crowdfunding like Kickstarter, which makes sense to me, but I understand why people are steering away from that. But you can also um, like just invest. Like, I'm gonna invest in this like a stock, and if it sees profit, you'll get some money back. I First off, look into it if you're thinking about doing it, because as a personal investor, there's some sketchiness to it, and the FTC isn't 100% sure you get to do things. They have to, for each game, get permission for individual investors to invest.
Hmm.
So it doesn't, you might not always get what you think you're getting. And I'm not sold on their business strategy, is sort of my takeaway from that. I'd love to do more with it, but I'm not 100% sold that it's going to get there.
Yeah.
But one of the things they show in their breakdown is Xenonauts, which is essentially a fan-made XCOM game,
Hmm.
sold over 200,000 copies. Like,
Wow.
you've got to decide, is that, what is a success for you?
Hmm.
XCOM 2 sold a million and 1.3 million. And
Yeah.
Xenonauts 2 sold 200,000. But I'm betting the team at Xenonauts 2 is thrilled
Oh yeah.
because it's
Yeah.
a small team that did what they loved. So
Right.
I'm a little surprised Wasteland 2 only sold 650.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah, that was a
that's a great
lot
game.
of people were waiting and waiting for that game.
And it's a good
It's well
game.
done. Yeah, it's a great blend of tactical combat and role playing, and
Yeah,
the world's great. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So I'm looking forward to Wasteland 3 and other stuff from Fargo. Um, I I would have lost a bet years ago if you had told me Brian Fargo was going to be the guardian of old school gaming.
Right.
I'd be like, really?
Him?
Okay. I'm not saying he couldn't. I don't see it. And like Garriott or somebody else, I would have expected to pick up the torch, and nope, it's been Fargo.
Yeah,
And bless him for it, because
yeah. But we
anyway,
won't get into Richard Garriott
we won't
thing.
get into
'Cause
Richard
I know
Garriott.
that's
I'll start gnashing my teeth.
yeah.
Um, anything else you want to say about Die by the Sword?
No, just play it. Like,
Give it a
have a
shot.
blast. Just have fun with it. Get the mod.
Hmm.
What
The
was it called?
extend, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
If I
Uh,
remember, I'll put it in the notes. I make no promises. Um, yep, there it is. There's where you won. End of
yep.
game. 3-2. And you
What can I
gave,
say?
yeah, like I noticed rewatching this, You were like, well, you knocked in a couple points for me. My first goal, you knocked in for me.
Oh, I didn't. I don't even
I didn't
remember
even
that.
notice until I watched again. I'm like, he got that for me. So
It happens,
we're
but you
fine.
got to
We're
get
even.
it down there. Really, like
Yeah,
the end game. It's just like kind of luck once
it
you're in
is.
front of the goal.
So pull that back up for a couple seconds. So yeah, take a month. I recommend doing what we do for some of these old games. If you want to try something, take a month, play it. Like if you got to tap out early, but give yourself at
Mhm.
least a month on trying some of these weirder older games that you might not have gotten into. If you like action games at all, if you like D&D style games at all, if you want to try something different than the typical fantasy fare, gotta give Orcs Must Die by the Sword a try.
But also play Orcs Must Die because
Also
that's
play Orcs
fun.
Must Die. That's fun too.
That's great.
All right, which brings us to next month. We are doing Pirates.
Yes.
There's like three versions of it.
Hmm.
So if you're playing along, I'm going to play the original Commodore 64 Pirates game.
My intention is to play the DOS version, but if I am not feeling it, I'm gonna switch to Pirates Gold and just
Mhm.
enjoy the better graphics. But I know there were some changes to Pirates Gold as far as content, so I want to play the original because that's the first one I played was the
Yeah.
DOS version.
And that's kind of, I want that experience. That's why I'm going back to these. I really want as original and pure an experience as I can get. So it'll be interesting to see, like, do I need to drag my own self up if I can handle it? Although I gave it a shot the other night, and I don't think I'm going to have a problem with it. It seems plenty playable. Um, it will be different. I don't think we've played a game like this yet.
Yeah, yeah. I'm wondering what it's going to be like because I remember feeling kind of lost when I played it the first time because again didn't read the manual. So this
No
time I'm going to give it a concentrated
effort.
effort, some time on it, and just have fun.
Start with the manual, and yeah, um, I'm the same way. I'm going to need to start with the manual, read my way through it, make sure I really understand what's going on because it seems like typical Sid Meier stuff. There's a lot going on. But there's this version, there's like the gold version that came out in the 90s, and then in 2004 they released a new version with updated graphics and stuff like that, but sort of a repolish and retread of this. What sort of took me aback when I started looking this up is 2004. I mean, that's almost our 20-year mark.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
right.
13 years. It's over halfway. So even the remake is old for some people. So I'd say try any of them if you want to kind of follow along this month and see kind of what some of this
Yeah.
old stuff's like.
And if you want to participate too in the videos, like we could probably figure that out. Like it
Yeah.
would be cool to have uh, more people who want to talk about this.
Yeah, I'd love to hear some other people's stuff and bring that into the conversation before we record. After we record,
Yeah.
I'll talk. As long as everybody stays civil, I'll answer YouTube comments. Please don't make me shut them down. Please, please be adults
On YouTube.
on YouTube. Please, YouTube people, be adults.
We haven't had a lot of comments, but the
They've all
people have
been
been really
decent.
cool. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I haven't had anybody that I'm like, oh, like you're not going to hurt our feelings. So if you tell us, I think you're wrong, that's not what's going to do it. You calling
Hmm.
someone, you swearing at someone or being derogatory or
Yeah,
sexist or racist, that'll A, get the comment removed, and B, have me lock down the comments because I don't want to deal with that.
yeah,
But other than that, yeah, I don't know what to say. I'm looking forward to Pirates. I like
yeah.
Pirates in general. This will be interesting because it's not, I don't know. It's not like you going around and swashbuckling, even though it says that world's first swashbuckling simulation. It's more resource
Yeah.
management and
Generous. Yeah,
managing ships and cargo. So we'll see.
yeah. Maybe
I'm,
maybe we can cosplay for the next video.
oh God,
Nah,
no, I don't foresee that happening.
no.
All right, thanks everybody for watching.
Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.